Across 14 days, we saw 6 world title fights and 2 massive upsets. Women's boxing just landed on ESPN. First, we had MVPW's first fight card at the Olympia in London, where we saw Irma Garcia, a 44-year-old police officer and lawyer from Mexico City, stop Emma Dolan in 3 rounds. Nobody saw it coming. Then we had Ellie Scotney become the youngest undisputed champion in UK history. Dubois dropped Terri Harper and unified the lightweight division. We had Chantal Cameron jump 2 weight classes and make it look easy. 12 days later, we had MVPW number 2 at Madison Square Garden. Lani Daniels, who lost her last 2 fights, stopped Shadasia Green in the 9th round. Alycia Baumgardner retained her titles and called out Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano from the ring. In Cardiff, we had Laura Price retain her unified welterweight titles, fighting through 5 rounds of blood. And not forgetting the amazing Meatball Molly McCann boxed the best fight of her pro career. So there's a lot to talk about. I'm Sarah Cunningham, and I'm your host of Between the Rounds. And today I'm joined by someone who doesn't just watch these fights, she's in the ring with many of these women. She was Terri Harper's main sparring partner ahead of the Dubois fight, and she was Katie Taylor's lead sparring partner for the Serrano trilogy. She's 7-1 as a pro, and she wants a shot at every name we're about to discuss. Shauna Browne, welcome to Between the Rounds.
Hi, Sarah. It's good to be here.
So we had 4 world title fights at MVPW in the Olympia in London. This was very much a proof of concept of kind of where they were headed. You were there on the night. What was the atmosphere like?
I was actually there for the whole fight week. It was brilliant. The biggest thing I took from it is the media and the exposure that the women got because of Sky Sports behind them. Like the open workout was like nothing I've seen before, especially with females. It was extraordinary. I said it to Nikisa and I said it to Mike. It's unbelievable what they're doing for females. On fight night, being part of Terry's team, we kind of really stuck together on the top floor whilst Terry was getting ready. I did watch Chantel's. Chantel had a great fight, 12 threes. It was actually a great pace for 12 threes. They kept it going. I think Chantel could have got her out of there if the weight was the same. I think she gave away too much weight. That's why she couldn't get her out of there. But that was exciting now, I'm not going to lie. That was actually exciting. And obviously being the first woman to win a WBO world title, doing 3-minute rounds as well, that was extraordinary.
It really was. And what was interesting, she kind of gave a little bit, she revealed a little bit in a post-fight interview after of, you know, listening to her corner on when to kind of change the pace of the fight, when to go up in the gears. And then her coach is like, don't be telling them our code name on when I'm telling you to go from 1 to 3, you know? So she's also adjusting to the 3-minute rounds. What are your thoughts in general about women fighting 3-minute rounds, Shauna?
I don't like them. It does no good for female boxing. I said it 2.5 years ago, and Amanda Serrano's first fight proved it. All Baumgardner's fights have proved it. They thought it'd be more exciting. They thought there'd be more knockouts, but it's actually the polar opposite. It's not exciting at all. Nothing about women doing 3-minute rounds is exciting. Amanda Serrano was one of my favorite fighters. Her 12 threes that I watched the first time, it took me 2 days to watch it. It was that boring. And then Baumgardner and Shin, I only tried to watch it today, and yeah, it was so difficult.
It's like the women are reserving their tanks to get through the full 10 rounds, right? And you're almost thinking like, where's this change of pace? Like, where's the tempo change within this? Like, and they're almost afraid to go for a full knockout because they're like, well, if I don't get them out of here, I've got to go another how many 3-minute rounds off the back of this. I agree. Like, I'm very open-minded with a lot of this. And I was, you know, also hoping that over time we might see an adjustment in terms of the training approach. I guess, like, do you train 3-minute rounds still, or do you train 2-minute rounds when you're sparring?
We're doing our bag work and stuff, it's 3 minutes. But when we're sparring, no, it's 2s. When I went over and sparred with the girls over in Ireland, when I trained with Kelly and stuff, and Grania, I did do the 3s. And I enjoyed it, but my pace was off the scale. And so was my power still the same, the girls, I tell you. I'd be the polar opposite if I did have to do 3s. I'd still be pushing the pace as well as generating power. I believe I'm one of the lucky ones that can carry power throughout all the rounds, right, even to the very last round. But what I've noticed, like you said, they play it too safe. It's like just playing tit for tat. And then it's taking a round off. Sorry, for a unification fight, nobody should be taking a round off. It should be illegal. The only thing I'd say, just going into it, watching Lauren Price and her opponent in Wales last week, or the week before, man, that was like They battered each other. But that's how you put it on the line for a unification fight. The defense needs work. I've listened to some of the interviews with Lauren Price. She like literally bit her tongue off in the 5th round and continued to fight for another 5 rounds. Now that's a fighter. That is how you fight.
Well, let's start there, Shauna. Then let's start with Lauren Price's fight, right? Because it was not a clean fight. It was clinical night on the scorecards. There was a mouth injury in round 5, and like you're saying, she bit her tongue, and then round 7 she had a cut above the right brow. Now she fought the second half of the 10 round soaked in her own blood. And Pineiro, the Puerto Rican WBA interim champion, was game throughout the entire fight. Now, what I saw from Lauren Price was beautiful boxing, but against a southpaw, like I did notice some of her exits on the way out, her hands were low. She left herself vulnerable. So she was open to those counters. Her footwork was beautiful, and she's a sharp shooter in there. You can really see the Olympic pedigree from her. Obviously, she's an Olympic gold. She's unified champ at 147, and this was her homecoming in Cardiff. Lauren Price faced off with Clarissa Shields at the end of that fight. What are your thoughts on that matchup coming in, Shauna?
Me personally, I didn't see it coming, and I don't see the sense in it at all. Like, what good is it? The size difference, everything about it. She's 147. They're on about doing it at 160. Where's the safety of the fighter anymore? Lauren Price and Clarissa Shields doesn't make sense. Lauren Price and Michaela Mayer massively makes sense. I think it'd be an unbelievable fight. I love watching Lauren Price. The only thing I would say, her defense now on fight night wasn't great. But man, she has the best 1-2 right hook I've ever seen.
It's unreal, yeah.
Ever seen. It's phenomenal. Her clean, sharp jab going down the center and everything is brilliant. The exchanges that happened in every round, but if you watch it, Lauren started best and finished best. Her punch ratio probably would have been 4-1 or 3-1. Her opponent, every time she did land, she was doing that bit more damage. She had the power when Lauren Price had the speed and the accuracy.
Yeah.
Like you see,
and the footwork, she just, oh my God, she moved around that ring so well. So beautiful.
Did you see even in round 4, she landed a right hook and got the legs completely out of her, but didn't realise that she did it. She didn't capitalise on it at all. It took her a good 10 or 15 seconds to get her bearings together. And that was only because it was timed beautifully. There was nothing put in it. It's just because her opponent was walking in and the force of meeting a 50-50.
It's interesting because Lauren Price has stayed with Sheffield, right, in terms of like the amateur pedigree. So she does spend her time training in the Sheffield grounds with the amateur girls. What are your thoughts on kind of that mix up for her camps?
I rate the way we're trained as amateurs. It's what got us to where we are today. And I don't think a lot of it should be forgotten about. Like the partner work, shoulder boxing, that in out in, the distance control. Even if you wanted to go into the tech sparring, it is so important in boxing. It's what makes us the fighters we are. Don't get me wrong, there's obviously a bit more aggression, there's a bit more intent, there's more, in a sense, people would say more thought, but let's be honest about it. Amateurs do. There's an awful lot of thought process in amateur boxing. You're up in the high performance now. It's unbelievable.
I'm blown away by how much thinking there is. And like I've learned so much in the past, what am I, 6 weeks in? Everything is thought process first.
Of course it is.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's not just a gun show. It's not just you're going in the ring to let the shots go, man. If you think that's the way it is, you've lost your mind. Absolutely lost your mind. It's 90% mind, 10% actual physical. It's all like, it's how you calculate, it's how you see everything.
So I think we both agree then, back on Lauren Price, and we'll close out on her. So we both agree a fight matchup with Michaela Mayer and Lauren Price would be more ideal than Clarissa Shields.
100%.
Yeah. And I'm curious. I feel like maybe Michaela has previously ducked Lauren Price then.
I find that hard to believe because I know I might get a bit of stick for this, but I believe Michaela Mayer beat Lauren Price.
Okay.
I do. I rate Michaela. I do like her as a fighter.
It's interesting because I would have thought so too until I've seen the power of Lauren, right? And I think we've seen someone where, I mean, depending now, because Michaela's obviously swapped trainers. You know, when she lost against Alycia Baumgardner, it wasn't a definitive loss, but it was just she wasn't busy enough. She wasn't doing enough. And I think someone like Lauren Price with that sort of pace of output, I think could easily dominate. But then again, look against Sandy Ryan, like how dominant Michaela Mayer was in that rematch.
I think she does the basics extremely well, and the fact that she does have long arms, she has that reach, but she also executes her shots really, really well. And I do believe, from looking at her, she can punch too.
Oh yeah.
She looks like she can punch too.
Yeah, Hamadouche was probably one of my favorite fights. I kind of go back and watch that regularly, of like just having this relentless pressure on you all the time, and she navigated that so well in that fight. Michaela Mayer did. Yeah. Okay, let's go back on to MVP Olympias. Now, obviously, you were with Terri and the team for the earlier fights, but did you manage to catch the Irma Garcia and Emma Dolan fight?
I watched it there today. Bit devastated for Emma. I kind of did want it to work for her because of the way she got there. She did it all the hard way. She climbed through, got all those belts on small hall shows, not getting her shot, and she finally got her shot. And I wanted it to be that like Cinderella story for her. She just couldn't get the distance correct. Her opponent's footwork was great. But the thing that I found unbelievable is the actual shots that landed that took her down, right? I had to keep rewinding back to find it because unfortunately Sky Sports angle was terrible. You couldn't actually see exactly where the shot was. So where it was placed is exactly on the sweet spot there. And then the back of the head is obviously just by the temple, just at the back of the ear is the sweet spot. Every single time, the 4 shots, it was that shot. She knew when to throw it. She knew when to time it.
She was like a deer in the headlights when it happened. I think it just shocked her. I think the thing I noticed in some of the earlier rounds, she had zero head movement, and so her defense wasn't there either. And so she was being clipped pretty aggressively. I think what was interesting is like Garcia's 44 years of age, right? And she's a lawyer, she's a police officer, so she's
I
like this
know. She's one of the
versatile
best
individual.
resumes
I'm
I've ever
like,
seen in boxing.
yeah, I'm like, don't shoot down the old ladies here who are trying to make it, you know.
She
But
made
I
me
do,
question. She made me question, am I doing enough?
yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. But I do think maybe they fast tracked Emma Dolan from like domestic champion level into kind of world championship level very quickly, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
No, she did. What number fight was that for her? How many
It
fights
was,
did she have before
I
that?
think, 8 fights.
Yeah, see, she got herself into the position. The problem is about it, Sarah, right? Regardless of being fast tracked, when you get offered an opportunity like that, you're not really going to turn it down because who's to say you're going to get another one?
So if you are Emma Dolan, what's the first thing you do now when you get back to the gym after that?
I would take my time with it. So obviously I got my knockdown, knockout, whatever way you want to call it, against Edith Turan. And the first thing I did is go back to the gym. Just go, I mean, 100 million miles per hour, just going after everything, trying to fix everything, trying to do everything, but do absolutely nothing. I literally thought I was making moves, I was doing the right thing, but I wasn't. I mentally was not okay. I didn't deal with what happened. She needs to take the time out now and deal with this properly. Get herself mentally well before she even goes near. She could go to the gym because obviously going to the gym, it really does help, but don't bury your head in the sand like nothing happened and you're okay.
Yeah, yeah. Don't suppress what's really happening, because you have to confront it and you have to go through it. Yeah, I love that. I love that guidance for her. Okay, on to Ellie Scotney versus Mayelli Flores. Did you manage to
Yes,
see
I
that?
did. I was front
Amazing,
row.
amazing. Okay, so we had two fight cards were 100 to 90 and 196 to 94. When you look at that on paper, right, there's two very wide scorecards and then one much closer. Ellie kind of said it herself that she felt like the fight was much closer in terms of just the relentless pursuit of Mayelli Flores. What were your thoughts on kind of the results of that fight and just general?
So I would say Ellie's correct. It was much closer, but the thing I would say, Ellie's ring generalship was perfect. She was check hooking her when she needed to, doing a little throw out the jab, throw out the backhand and moving. She angled it brilliantly, like phenomenally. And when the exchanges were happening, Ellie was finishing the better one. She was starting the better one and finishing the better one. My Ellie was landing shots, but nothing too major, nothing that would be too eye catching. It was the odd one or two here or there
Yeah.
compared to Ellie's flurries. Ellie has beautiful flurries. She has great hand speed. She's able to let them go. But the best thing about her letting them go, she's also able to get out of the way brilliantly. Ellie Scotney is one of my, she'll know it anyway. She's one of my favorite fighters in
Yeah.
this whole world. Like
No,
she's
likewise,
just,
likewise. I've loved how they've developed her through the
yeah.
professional ranks. Like Shane McGuigan is doing such a phenomenal job with her. And just listening to the corner between the rounds of that fight, he was just telling her, make those slight adjustments, like don't be backing up on the ropes leading with that backhand, like lure her in, take those micro steps back, then let that backhand go, because that's where you're getting the most success. And just being patient with the counter punching. And she executed so well. Like just the coach and fighter relationship that's playing out there is just really beautiful to watch.
Yeah, she trusts him. They've a really good bond. She trusts everything he says. He's guided her the right way. Ellie, I'm delighted. It's about time she's getting her due. I've seen her fight. I think she was on the Jordan Thompson undercard with Joy Apatow 2 years ago. And it was the first time seeing her live, and I fell in love with her. I've seen her beforehand. I loved her style. She was one of the most underrated fighters that I've ever seen in my entire life.
And she's not taking it easy either, because she's never fought for a vacated title, right? Which I think is like fabulous, right? She's always fought a champion every single time, from the IBF to the WBO to the WBC and now the WBA. And then to become the youngest UK undisputed male or female in the 4-belt era, fair dues to her.
She's in this game to fight, a born fighter, and she's a damn good fighter too.
Yeah. Where does she go from here? Right, she's undisputed at 122.
The only thing for her to do is move up and become undisputed at 125.
Okay, so what does that mean? Because then she's got
Sarah Browne is where it looked like she'd fight Sarah Browne for the W. Yeah.
How do you think that would play out?
I believe she beats her.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
I believe she beats her.
Yeah. So it looks like featherweight is a pretty open division for Ellie to kind of step in. So interesting for Ellie moving into featherweight in the future. Okay, so main event, Terri Harper versus Caroline Dubois, right? We've had real animosity going into this fight. Dubois, southpaw, Olympic pedigree. Harper, 29, 3-weight division world champion. But what was interesting about this was it was a slow to start fight, right? Terri Harper never quit on herself. And I think, personally, I feel like we saw some of the best of Terri Harper in that fight. Would love to hear your thoughts on the main event.
I have to disagree. Her 10th round was her best round by far, but I've done so many rounds and people will disagree, but you only seen a bare fraction of Terri Harper on Sunday night. You didn't see the best of Terri on that night at all.
Do you think so? You think, was that to do with Caroline's tactics or just what was going on with Terri?
I don't know, man, whether they were just playing it safe to get past the rounds, because obviously everybody knows Caroline's engine's been massively questioned, which it has. She hasn't really shown that she can make it into the later rounds without gassing out, and it was the same on the 10th round. But I did hear she was really sick with the flu. They're even on about pulling the fight. And fair play to her for getting in, taking the fight. It was a really, really risky move to make, especially on such a big platform. It was her night, we'd say. For a unification fight, I thought was just played a small bit too safe. But me personally, Caroline needs to be pressed from round one. The only person that really tested her, that I feel, if she had any more power or if there was 2 more rounds, I believe Shin could have beat her.
I guess when we saw Caroline for round 6 with Terri Harper, she started to really put the pressure and start to close that distance really nicely, and obviously got that knockdown. Did you see the vulnerability in Terri in that moment, or do you just feel like Dubois produced something special in that split second?
I wouldn't say produced something really special. I'm not sure about vulnerability. She pressed her a small bit. Yeah, she let a flurry of shots go. Maybe Terri just didn't know what way to handle it. The shot that chopped down in the top, it did land beautifully. It was a flash knockdown. It was a flash knockdown. But me personally, in that, I would have got up and I would have been like, I've nothing more to lose. I would literally just go ham and I would go and bring it to her for the next 4 rounds. What she produced in round 10, it means she could have done that before and it would have been a complete different fight. What changed the fight was the flash knockdown. And yet she capitalized on it. She pressed more. She brought the fight to Terri. But what Terri did in the 10th round was absolutely extraordinary. It's just a pity she didn't do it earlier. And that's where it brings back to my argument. And I think she was sick against Shin. She had the flu as well at the same thing. But no matter what she threw at Shin, she threw everything in the kitchen sink. Shin didn't move. She kept coming. For the last 2 rounds, Shin battered Caroline. If Shin had a heavier shot, she probably would have stopped Caroline. I know Alycia and Caroline are having this back and forth. I'm probably going to get some stick for being honest, because who's Shauna only after 8 fights? I watched Shin and Alycia Baumgardner It was the most boringest fight ever. Don't get me wrong. Alycia Baumgardner did nearly chin Shin, but Shin is one of the most toughest, gamest fighters I've ever seen in the division. She doesn't. She's relentless. But they did 10 threes when Caroline could barely get through 10 twos.
Well, I think the engine piece is a huge thing, and I think also they'll play into the fact that she's WBC champion. So WBC obviously don't allow the 3-minute round, so there's always going to be that protection, I guess, for Caroline to sit behind.
Sure, if that's the case, then why is she calling out Alycia Baumgardner? What's she going to do? Vacate the WBC and go? She'll never make 130. Never. And Baumgardner made it clear again. After fighting Shin, she will not go back down to twos, even though Baumgardner could do it going back down to twos. Baumgardner was a good, exciting fighter. She was. She's not that good and exciting at threes.
I think that's what's interesting is she claims to be this knockout artist, but we haven't seen a knockout since Terri Harper. And it's like, I don't know, Alycia, like, I think we got things to work on. I actually was quite impressed with her performance on Friday night. I flip-flop against Alycia. I will say she has a really, really solid jab. And I think she places her accuracy in her shots are really good. Like you could see that, but she doesn't know how to go up the gears. And I think the only time I think I saw her live at Madison Square Gardens 18 months ago. And again, she almost gassed out. It was like round 4 or 5 where she tried to get the knockout and she couldn't get it. And I think it was after that, she was like, I can't put my foot on the gas like this and expect to go another 6 rounds after. So obviously, she called out Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. That's who she was. She's dismissing Caroline. You've obviously been in camp with Katie. What do you see as a potential matchup of Katie's last fight with Alycia Baumgardner?
I don't really mind who Katie goes in with. Katie's going to be well in for any one of them. It doesn't really matter. The biggest thing, obviously, we want Katie Taylor to get her homecoming in Croke Park. To me personally, I'd love if it's Southpaw so I could be her sparring partner again.
It's interesting because I think Natasha Jonas, that's the only one. Natasha Jonas has always said she would love that rematch, right? And they were both in the UK for, I'm trying to think what fight were they? Oh no, they were both over in Dublin for the 3 Arena. Yeah.
Yes. So,
and I was like, oh, is this a bit of a marketing play here? Are they trying to like seed something? I think that would be a great final, a farewell to both of them potentially.
yeah, so that's the argument that I had because I like putting like 2 and 2 together and making 4. I like doing Magnum PI kind of stuff, and that's what I looked into because like her and Natasha Jones fight in Eddie Hearn's back garden. Remember, it was COVID. Yeah. It was actually unbelievable.
It was a great fight.
Super good.
Yeah.
But obviously, Natasha Jones would have to come down. The two of them are veterans in the sport. The two of them have really good following. It'd be a great way for the two of them to retire. The woman has done everything in the sport, man. She's always said yes to a fight. She's never ever turned down an opponent.
And even when she's won convincingly on the scorecards, if there was any sort of pushback from the fans, she went back and gave a rematch, no matter what.
Yeah,
look at
like
Delphine
the Delphine
Pursoon. Yeah, yeah. Well, look at us both on the button with the exact. Yeah, Delphine was a great one.
That was a cracker. The second one was unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, unreal. Just to touch on before we wrap this recap, did you manage to watch Molly McCann?
Oh my God! So
yes,
I did, of course. I have to give Molly McCann massive kudos. She's improved immensely. Oh my God. Her punch selection, her ring generalship, her defensive work, her footwork, engine. I had goosebumps for her, for the walkout, for everything, for the win, the performance. Man, yeah, she was incredible. I give massive kudos to Molly McCann for Saturday night. Massive.
Yeah. This fight, just to see her on the back foot and box so well and use her distance and range management, I was like, way to go, Molly. Like, unbelievable.
I think she shocked the whole world. I believe she shocked the whole world for what she produced.
And potentially a British title by the end of 2026, like she's looking for.
Brilliant. You know? Brilliant.
Yeah. Awesome. Alrighty. Shauna, we will wrap it up there for the recap on all women's boxing in April. And hopefully we'll have some news from you coming up. And we'll cover some of your fights in the near future.
Please God.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll definitely get you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.